All right, friends and traders and family and fans from around the world. Going to get a gentleman on the line who I'm good friends with, lives here in Nashville, Tennessee, by the name of Billy Brown. He is a financial lender, syndicator, and lending expert in the real estate realm. And it is Real Estate Month here at Real Life Trading. So as you might be looking at some stock charts, this is what I do, and this is how I make my living, by analyzing this stuff and just absolutely dominating it, crushing it, pressing buttons. But it's always good to get other experiences, other knowledges, and other skill sets. So let me go ahead and give Billy Brown a phone call, get him on the line, and ask him some questions. If anyone else out there has any questions for myself or Billy, just let us know in the chat pane for those who are here live. And if you're watching the recording, make sure to click that, smash that subscribe button, and let us know if you have any questions.
Hope this is Jeremy.
Billy Brown. Hey, buddy.
That's good. It says no caller ID on the caller ID. It's like there's only one other person that has that. So hope it's you.
That's me, man. That's me. Thanks for making time out of your Wednesday to do an interview with me and the team.
No, absolutely, man. I'm excited. Is this being recorded for posterity's sake, or is this live?
Both. It is live, and it will also be recorded.
Oh, very cool.
What's the
excited,
definition
man.
of the word posterity?
I don't know. It's a good question. You're asking me non-lending questions, so
that was not
caught me off guard.
Questions. I'm gonna go look it up because I've heard it a few times. I just never.
Yeah.
Posterity.
It's basically it's archived. Like, hey, you got to go back and look at this and admire it for years to come. Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna use that word in the future, man. Thanks for enlightening me with that piece of info.
Well, here's where I got it from. Like most quotes in my life, is Princess Bride. So you can go watch that movie and get a much more quotes.
Perfect. It's a very quotable film too.
Very quotable. So
yeah, man. Billy, tell everyone who's listening what's your specialty in the real estate sector?
Man, that is a great question. So I wear two hats. The day job hat is I'm a commercial lender. We are very, very creative when it comes to commercial lending. For those that are not day-to-day in real estate investing or deal with banks much, since Frank Dodd laws passed and obviously post-crash 2008, a lot more regulation has come into play for the bank and depository lenders. So a lot of these bank lenders look exactly the same. So they're all homogenous. Up comes these, basically call them hedge funds, call them private lenders. We call them non-depository lenders that go in and specialize where these other lenders would not, the bank lenders don't touch anymore. And we're able to basically create value from lending that no one else can. That's through strategy and sequencing of debt. So in essence, what we do is we make people money through debt.
Mm.
Yep. On the investor side, my wife and I started buying some properties early, probably 5 years ago, and they've grown in value and grown in cash flow and all that. And we sold a couple of them and ended up buying a apartment complex. It closed in July, which Jeremy, you're my accountability buddy for that episode of Music and Money. So you're part of the team that helped me do it and helped us do it. But that was called a syndication. I'm sure we'll dive into that word a little bit more in this call. And then now we're working on another little mini partnership of an office complex up in my wife's hometown, and we're closing next week on it, and that'll be very profitable for us. So I'm in the world of real estate and real estate investing. We do a lot of lending on it, but we can do a lot of interesting things on the lending side as well. From just bridge lending, where you need money for a short amount of time for a project, to SBA, where you go in and it's a great idea and you've got some backers maybe. You want to go try something new. SBA is about the only lender out there that will do something on what's called pro forma. It's made up numbers in essence of like, here's what I think it's going to look like. So the SBA guarantees the loan for the lender, and then here's your pile of money and good luck. If you don't succeed, then there's a lot of consequences, but it's cheaper than getting a whole bunch of equity investors to go put up money. So, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And I got your website up. I know you can't see it, but I got, if anybody wants to check it out, billybrown.me. So when you're talking about types of lending, that's a lot of different types. Like is there one you specialize in, or do you kind of just, you're game with all of them because you know the math and the numbers?
Well, the math and the numbers are pretty well the same. Across the board, you have to have positive cash flow. Easy breezy. At the end of the day, now some things aren't positive cash flowing because it's brand new. Either new construction or you're buying something that's it's mismanaged and cash flow is low for whatever reason, or you're going to go gut the building and redo it and make it prettier. This really depends on really what you're buying. But I like stuff that involves real estate. Because real estate is secure, real estate is very known. Values are easy to come about. It's illiquid, so they're very stable, and there's a lot of lending options out there that uses real estate security. Now, SBA is something we offer as a part of our overall lending platform here. I am not, as going on record, I am not an SBA expert. I'm learning every day. But that's more for what I call owner-occupied type lending, such as you're going to go open an ice cream restaurant, or you're going to go do a car dealer detailing place, you're going to go expand your chiropractic clinic or whatever. Something where it's your business you own and run. SBA is very, very good on that. We have a gentleman here in our office that is a very good SBA lender, knows it insides and outs. I know how to screen it out and know what to look for if it fits that bucket, but I just hand it off to him after that.
Okay.
But everything else, I would pile under real estate lending, and it's either performing or not performing, and that's kind of how we determine which direction to go on it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then answer me this question, because I think what would be fun for a lot of people to know who are listening, a lot of the people who are listening in are going to be investors in the stock market. They have some cash, and they're interested in probably owning some real estate because everyone should own some real estate, in my opinion. What would they need? Or kind of give me some breakdowns from like a lending perspective. If I want to get, let's say I want to get money in the game on some real estate for just a regular old flip, plastic. I found a house. I have like $30,000. That's enough for a down payment on the house. What would be my next step?
Yeah. So you want to go flip. So flip means like you see on HGTV or one of those quasi non-reality shows. So I read many articles on how those numbers do not work, and in reality, you're going to go buy something ugly and make it pretty and sell it for profit. Now, the first thing I'd say is, and there's a little bit more detail for you guys, but the first thing is partner with a professional real estate investor.
Okay.
On your first one. Do not do this on your own.
Sure.
Don't do it. I would rather you just go flush $30,000 down the toilet than you go try this on your own, because you save a lot of headaches. Your $30,000 is going to be gone anyway. You might as well just save yourself the headache of going through 3 or 4 or 5 months of dealing with contractors and not showing up or not showing up sober to perform your work. You also need to know the starting point for any kind of flip is the after repair value. It's called ARV. Off of that, the key metric is you're only buying at 75% of that after repair value minus all the rehab that you're going to get done. So the second key team member there is a contractor that you know and trust that can get the job done. And you probably need 2 or 3 because in today's market, these guys are more sought after than anything, especially ones that show up, again, on time and sober. Once you have those two numbers, lending becomes very, very easily because you're offered at the right price. You do not pay retail. If you follow that formula, you will be very, very profitable because lending lines up for you very, very quickly. Typically on the bridge lending stuff, it really also boils down to the location, like where you are as far as MSAs, as far as metro areas. If you're in a solid metro area, you can sometimes get up to 90% of the purchase price and 100% of the rehab numbers. If you're in certain geographic areas and you buy something within that formula, sometimes it can be as much as 100%.
Interesting.
But across the board, if you go and you budget your numbers off of 80% of the cost of the property plus 80% of the rehab, that's typically what lenders will lend on. As far as your broad brush, but there's probably 30 or 40 different lenders, both institutional down to private lenders that we work with. I mean, I know lots of guys that just lend out of their self-directed IRA to go help investors out and make some money.
Now, when someone does that, because that would be an interesting thing, I think I'd like to get some clarification on. Like when you say lending out of a self-directed IRA or 401k, does the money actually come out of it, or is it just used as?
Yeah. No. So if you're a lender, let's just say my pool of money is housed in this nice little tax shelter called self-directed IRA. Now I'm no expert on this, so I deal with it enough to talk broadly. If you want some people to go talk to, I've got 2 or 3 guys that I really trust in this world. But that is a lovely, lovely place to go store money and pile it up and own real estate and a lot of other things tax-free. Mm-hmm. Now, it's restricted in some ways, but you can be a lender on it. So let's just say I've piled up $100,000 in that thing because I may have rolled over a 401k or another IRA from a job change into a self-directed IRA, and it's just sitting there doing diddly, you know what?
Yeah.
Jeremy comes to me and says, Billy, I got this great deal. It's this thing's going to appraise for $150,000 when it's done. I'm getting it for $75,000. It needs $30,000 in work. I need $100,000. All that. It's like, okay, I'll lend you $80,000 of that, and you go to work and you'll pay me back. You'll basically pay me 1% per month while that money's out. And I want the loan, I want my money back within 6 months. So you use my money for 1% per month. I get 1% per month tax-free because it goes back to my self-directed IRA. I can't touch it.
Yeah.
And then when it's paid off, all the money comes back home with its friends. And you get a house to flip with a bunch of profit.
Interesting.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Now, if you're using self-directed IRA funds for a flip, either for a down payment or actually to flip in, contact your self-directed IRA, I forgot the word there, not intermediary, but I'll think of the word later. Your person to make sure that's okay. In some instances, there's a lot of restrictions on what you use for flips.
Right.
Yep.
Huh. Okay. So that's so when someone's doing that, I mean, do you have to have a lot of paperwork together, or like how should one go about presenting it? Like when you mentioned, hey, here's the numbers, kind of walking through.
Yeah.
Should it be in a spreadsheet? Should it be written down, or should it be a phone call where it's like, hey, I got all the details?
It helps to have it written down. We typically have a checklist of things that we need to go set people up with a lending on this. And it's usually a quick little phone call. If you know your numbers, it's a 15-minute phone call. As far as like, here's the address. I pulled these couple of properties off of the MLS. Here's what they look like. Here is the contract, what I'm going to buy it for. Here's my scope of work, what's going to be put into it. Here's the budget from the contractor. And, you're still going to need some tax returns and personal financial statement to go along with that. But for the most part, they're looking at the property itself. Is there enough meat on the bone, enough margin in there to meet the criteria? And then with us, we work with, probably 20 different lenders. And what I do is I sort through based off of who's borrowing. Is it an entity or is it an individual? Where's the property at? I ask a bunch of questions, and then eventually I'll cipher out probably about half those lenders will be eligible to go lend on this project based on those answers. And there's usually 2 or 3 really good ones based on my screening that we can go to, and I get some quick math, quick results for them, and then tee it up and go. They typically can close in as little as 2 to 3 weeks. Wow. Sometimes quicker if it's a fast project. If you get your ducks in a row, yeah.
Okay, and obviously a lot of that just takes practice and takes time and takes understanding. But I think a lot of people can comprehend those steps. What about rental?
Yeah.
Like, does anyone ever borrow money for rental properties?
Oh yeah, all the time. The best way to, well, what was the quote there? That most millionaires are made in real estate. You know, you got to have a hedge against stuff, and we love real estate because it can be leveraged.
Yeah.
You got leverage, you got cash flow, and you got appreciation, and you got debt pay down. So the tenants pay those down. There's probably 30 different lenders out there and lending sources to go get money for rental properties. It really boils down to what I call how bankable are you and how bankable is the property. If you're talking just a standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Nashville, you're getting it for $250,000, which you can't find anymore. This is an example. I know.
Where is that house?
I know. It used to be like you could find less than $100,000. Now it's less than $250,000. Yeah. So you find one of those and you put 20% down, and if you're strong as far as your own financials and you're bankable and have a history of income and good credit, any number of lenders will lend to you on fairly good terms off of that. Now, the key is, will this property cash flow by itself, siloed, what I call siloed, after expenses and property management and all that? If you do that, then you also have a lot more lending options that are more creative and less headache.
Yeah, that term silo, that's an acronym, right?
No, it's actually just, think about it as, let's just say you go to your lender that you bought your own residence through, like a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac type of loan.
Okay.
And you say, name somebody, whoever. Just use Quicken because you guys are on probably national conference call. Around here, it'd be like a Churchill Mortgage or Loan Depot or whatever. Hey, Quicken guy, I want to buy my house. Here's all my finance, my W-2s, my tax returns, my bank statements, yada. Okay, great. You have all that income. Now they say, hey, well, based off your income, and then you go by your income plus the income of the property, you can subsidize that property if it goes vacant. So that's why they're like, most people don't care about that if they got strong cash flows. It's just an investment. If it goes vacant for a month or two, they don't really care. They're making a couple $100 a month extra, having a place to park their money. They're good with that.
Okay.
As an investor, a true investor looks at a return on your money. It's called cash on cash. I'm going to put $10,000 in. I want $1,000 a year back. 10% cash on cash. That's what you're looking for.
Sure.
After vacancy factored in, after property management, after expenses, after reserves, after mortgage payments. So all that net down, that's what you're looking at. As an investor, we have investor loans out there that if you buy something where it cash flows, called net operating income, that's the income before the mortgage payment, is 25% more than the mortgage payment, you can get some seriously easy lending out there.
Yeah.
You don't need tax returns. You need some bank statements, obviously, to show where the liquidity is coming from.
Yeah. But
you need a halfway decent credit score and a property in a good location. And if you got a lease in place, and first month's rent, you're golden.
Gotcha.
It is not hard. That's called silo. That property is going to cash flow by itself after everything's factored in, with or without you subsidizing that property.
Which is huge. I mean, like I said, I think that's good for a lot of people to hear, because that's an actual possibility. I mean, it depends on where you live, obviously, and how hot the market might be at that particular point in time. But you can still find some places that can easily be arranged, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, now if you're investing out in California and you're just looking for a place to go, plop money down, and you're getting a small return, and that's what you want, it's great because it's California and it's, it's going to appreciate very, very fast. That's fantastic. But a lot of money always flows the highest yield. Always does. So as far as seeing these people they're taking their money and going investing in Memphis or Indianapolis or Chattanooga or someplace else, because they can basically double and sometimes triple their returns on these little properties, because you can buy them for $75,000 and rent them out for, $800, $900 to $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And get fantastic little returns. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take a whole lot of work to go do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
There's a lot of businesses that are set up that way, especially in Memphis. I know Indianapolis. I don't know a lot of them, but I mean Memphis is a great example because it's close-ish to Nashville. But there's businesses set up for just turnkey investments.
Yeah.
To attract these out-of-state investors and international investors looking for a place to go park their money. They go in and find these ugly places. They go fix them up, make them really pretty, stick tenants in there, and then sell them, at fairly good deals to their to buyers, and then they manage the properties.
Yeah.
You just get a check once a month.
Yeah, which is really interesting, and I think that's a truly fantastic concept. You mentioned the rates earlier. Like you said that they might give you some good rates. What would just be like an ideal rate to look for if you have, like I said, standard credit and siloed, everything was good, everything was kind of like thumbs up? What would be like an okay rate?
Man, if you go through like a Fannie Freddie right now, I mean, rates are just stupid low. They're just printing money left and right to get people to go buy. If you can get your loan through underwriting, because it's a refinance boom right now. I want to say probably mid fours.
Wow.
That's a full doc, 20-25% down loan. I mean, 3 years of tax returns, blood samples, DNA, name of firstborn, all that fun stuff. And if you're okay going through that and you want that cheap money, go for it.
Sure.
If you're going through like just a normal, what I call it, an investor loan, where you don't want to deal with that headache, you're like, hey, I'm getting a really good deal. I just need to close fast this thing, and I don't want it showing up on my personal credit. You're still looking at 20 and 25% down, and you're looking high fives, low sixes on 30-year amortizations.
Yeah.
And again, that's less headaches.
Sure.
So it really depends on.
You can always refinance it if you need to.
Yeah, and those are, the difference there in rates. Normal people will talk about rates. Investors talk about cost of funds.
Okay.
And it's a balance there of what's your cost of funds, and the cost also includes time and headache.
True.
So the cost of that cheaper money is, it might take you 6 weeks to go get it, to 8 weeks. You're going to be scrutinized, run over the coals, because it's got to go fit that Fannie Freddie model, and it's recourse. You can't buy through an LLC. You are personally signing on this thing. The other cost of it is like, hey, I want to pay a little bit higher interest rates and maybe a little bit more fees, but there's lower costs because there's less paperwork, and I'm not personally guaranteed. Well, I'm not. My LLC is buying it, or my entity is buying it.
Yeah,
it's not showing on my personal credit.
Right.
Does that kind of make sense?
It does. And I like that approach. And like I said, that's another reason why I reached out to you, because you make things pretty easy to understand. You break things down for people like me who are not that smart.
I have a very simple mind, so I try to keep things very, very simple. It's
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about syndication, because you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
what is syndication? Because I have another guest.
Oh man,
I'll be talking about that, but kind of break that down because we hear that term a lot.
Ooh, can you tell me who the guest is? I might want to jump in on that. Listen to that one. Can you tell me? Can you drop it?
Yes, that would be Beverly Kruger, the president of REN.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. She is very experienced in this world.
Yes.
So you've got, this is maybe a longer conversation here, so I'm going to try to break this down real simple. So you got two sides of investing. You've got passive and active. Active is I go out and go, everything I can go do to go buy a property myself. I'm going to go talk to realtors, going to go through all the due diligence, go through, appraisals, document underwriting, all that fun stuff to go buy a property. I'm going to personally sign on a rental property. The other side of it is passive, where you have somebody that is going to go do that for you. They come back and go, hey, I've got this great deal. Here are all the details on it, and I need some capital partners to invest in this with me. And in exchange for that, I'm going to give you a return of your capital as well as appreciation, and here's our exit strategy and all that, like a standard investment type of deal. The reason that's important is to let you guys know that you can be a passive investor in real estate and not own a property and still get rate returns. There's about 10 different ways to go do that. It's phenomenal. Like when the little minutia, once you get inside the lending and investing, how you can go be part of this and just sit back in your office and collect money.
Sure.
It's crazy. Let everyone else go do the work. Now, syndication, there's two sides of it. I mean, the first side we're talking about right here is what like my wife and I did with buying that 82 apartment complex. We actively went out and found the property. Right. I made the phone calls to realtors, networked with them, did the due diligence on the properties that came in, found one, underwrote it, went up there, looked through it, poking holes in it, digging under rocks, all sorts of fun stuff, making phone calls, putting it under contract, putting money down for due diligence and all that fun stuff. And then we formed a team to go help manage that process, go file the exemption with the SEC. It's called a 504C, so you can go legally raise funds, create the offering memorandum that splits it up between the active owners, called the general partnership, and the active managers, and the passive investors, called limited partnership. And then we went out and raised funds to go have people invest in our project, and we were going to give them returns, and it's a really good freaking deal. So they sit back, collect checks via K1, they get the depreciation write-offs and all that fun stuff. So knock on wood, everything looks good. They will have positive cash flow and a negative K1.
I see.
Do I need to explain that? Do I need to explain what that means?
Yes, sure.
Okay. This is the beautiful thing about real estate and why I love it. You can make money tax-free. Because legally, you can write off, especially now with the accelerated depreciation, you can bonus depreciate any kind of expenses on the front end. Okay. So we're going to give them, so any kind of investment comes in, you're actually going to get that income from the net income coming in. But then you have a silent, lovely, and I call it a loophole that's out there, little built-in tax advantage called depreciation that you can write off. Mm-hmm. And that property is written off at a 27.5-year depreciation. So 1/27.5 gets depreciated right off the bat, spread out to all the investors. And then also you get the bonus depreciation. So anything that's you put into it, you can actually take all that depreciation on the front end. So putting in new windows, doors, all that, as opposed to depreciating that thing out over 27.5 years, you can claim all on year one. So you go in, when you look at a syndication to invest in, you look at what's your goal, And if there's any kind of a value add to it, either like, hey, you're going to refinance everybody, pay off your investment sooner and let the investors keep in the deal, or the bonus appreciation. Hey, this thing is ugly. I want to make it pretty. And because I make it pretty, we put all the money into it. Yes, you're still getting that money because it's a really good deal, but it's also, we're going to bonus depreciate all that putting in. So when we send you your K1s at the end of the year, there should be a negative sign in front of it, or it should be cut down significantly.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And everybody loves those those negative K1s, well, most people, because you get the, you still have the cash flow, but no taxman doesn't come for it.
I see. Okay. So with that passive, like how would an investor go about being part of a syndication? Like as far as can they find some, or do they go out their own, or what does that look like?
I mean, syndicating is not just for real estate. Did you know you can syndicate a movie? You can syndicate a racehorse. You can syndicate an NFL team. You can syndicate a business. It's what Warren Buffett does.
Yeah. It's
the same thing.
Yeah.
So you can go out and do, if you break it down that way, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Sure. Sure.
It's just, this is a piece of real, what we talk about is of real estate. It's like, oh, well, how does that work? Well, it's the same thing. You go in there and a group goes and buys it, and then they're the ones that have the financial wherewithal and the experience to go make this thing work efficiently and add value to it. And they need equity investors to go bring in, to go supply the down payment and working capital and all that to do that. And in return, the place to go put your money to work, and you get the cash flow and the write-offs and the appreciation. And with multifamily, the great thing about that is, sometimes in offices too, as you improve the efficiency of the property, like lowering expenses through energy efficiency, lighting, water, and all that, and increasing the rents, your net operating income goes up. And it's an exponential growth in value because apartments are valued differently than single families. So when you apply what's called the cap rate to that NOI, and that change in NOI, it's not hey, I made another $100,000 to the bottom line for this property. It can be a valuation of $2 to $3 million.
Mm. But they don't even need all of that. Like, how much would someone need in that situation? Like $2-3 million property? We're talking 20% down.
Yeah, 20 to 25% down to go do it. And again, the syndication stuff is most of the time you're not using any of your own money.
Mm-hmm.
So when we syndicated the apartment complex, even though we put up a lot of what we call the soft costs up front, like the appraisals and the earnest money and all that fun jazz, we got that back at closing. So we actually own a partial owner of a apartment complex with none of our money in it. And that's the beautiful thing about being an active syndicator. On the passive side, there are thousands and thousands of folks out there doing these syndications, looking for passive investors to go, hey, yeah, if you got money parked on the sideline, HELOC, self-directed IRA, life insurance, whatever, just sitting there, then here's a place to go put it and double, triple your returns in a safe environment.
Oh man!
And those guys are out there. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. And so I had someone mentioned in the chat pane. Robert said you need a custodian that specializes in real estate lending from hard money for an IRA. Do you have any favorites?
Within the self-directed IRA folks, Nashville. It depends on where you are. Just go look for a local guy. That's probably the best one. If you're in Nashville, Mike Todd is our guy here locally that does it. He's with IRA Innovations.
Mike T.
And they're self-directed IRA. Yep.
Okay.
It's like, first name. Yeah. And you can do self-directed IRAs. You can do self-directed health savings accounts. You can do self-directed college funds accounts, called Coverdale's, and even other things.
Wow.
That I didn't even know about. So you get those guys that are in that world of like, oh yeah, there's lots of ways
Now
to go grow tax-free.
Yeah, you mentioned life insurance. So how?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So our buddy Tom Lonnie, the tallest man on the planet, basically, well, between you and him, you're starting forwards of the national real estate investors.
Right.
This guy came up with a great strategy, and I followed this strategy for a while. It's basically you overfund a whole life insurance policy, and you're able to use that money and borrow from it very, very quickly, almost like your own HELOC, home equity line of credit, but it's against your life insurance policy. So you have cash value in there, and you go borrow against it to go invest. And that's where you can go create my favorite word of all time. I love this word, arbitrage.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Arbitrage is a great word. I've got a great example there is, you can go borrow money. If you can go borrow money at 5% and put it into play at 10%, you're making a 5% spread.
Sure.
How much did it cost you? Nothing.
Yeah. Usually, other than time, nothing.
Nothing. How do banks make their money? Think about this one. How do banks make their money? They borrow money from you as an form of deposit. If it's a liability to them, they pay you. And I use this example in my presentation for Music Money. SunTrust sent out this flyer. If you gave them $100,000, they would give you a $750 gift card.
Yep.
So it costs them $750. Now, if you go borrow $100,000 from them, it's called like 2 car loans or whatever, they're going to charge you about 6 to 7% interest. They're making a lot of money off that spread, and that's a lot. That's a lot of money. I forgot the numbers. I should have pulled it up there when we talked, but that's your great example of arbitrage. They're borrowing money from you and then lending it back to you.
Sure.
You can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do the exact same thing. And again, I don't want to be a passive investor and create those infinite returns through arbitrage. You got to know where those financial vehicles are, because there's a lot of ways to go, especially with a group of people, especially inside of real estate investors that cater that. There are a ton of ways to make money out of thin air. It's absolutely thin air.
Couldn't agree more.
Great example. Yeah, a great example. I'll throw this at you. Is one of the first ways that, or as being a passive investor, is called transactional funding. And this is to kind of get you guys started thinking about, if they have money in play, how to go work with investors, because they need it all the time. Investor in Chattanooga approached me. He's got a property he's buying for $25,000. It's called a wholesale. He actually has a buyer that's going to pay $45,000.
Sure.
Now, he doesn't want that buyer to know he's buying for $25,000. That buyer knows he's going to make some money, but he doesn't want to know he's making $20,000 because he don't want to get talked down. So he's going to use my $25,000 for about 45 minutes to go close on the first property. 15, 20 minutes later, the other guy's going to buy the property for him for a profit, and he's going to send me back $27,000.
I see.
So I will, and the people do this all the time with the self-directed IRAs and all that, but minus the $6 interest is going to cost me for my HELOC and the wire fees of $40, it can be a couple $1,000 profit.
Yeah, totally.
In one day.
I love that. Thomas is asking the question. Yeah. He says, is this similar to some of these crowdsourced real estate companies like Fundrise and Realty Mobile and such? Is that kind of a similar concept?
The crowdfunding came out of the need to get regular unaccredited investors into real estate. And crowdfunding has been used to go help real estate investors go raise some capital, but it's not as lucrative because, I mean, if you're an unaccredited investor and unaccredited, there's IRS designation for accredited versus unaccredited. I can send you guys a link on this. If you're unaccredited, you're very limited in what you can do as far as investments. Very, very limited. You have to go through these crowdfunding things to go get some decent returns. Because if you're not, you're getting, 2 or 3% at the most on your money. So you go and invest with a whole bunch of people and go do that. It's the same idea, but with more dollars to it and more of a return. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep, it does.
Yeah, but there's less people involved. Like the funding we did for our Lexington event, our Lexington project, I think we may have 20 people at the most. I'll have to count and see, but it was less than 30.
Sure.
They're all accredited. We do a 506C offering, it's an exemption for that at the SEC.
Yep.
So it's credited only. I mean, I think it was a $1.25 million raise, which is pretty small in this world. So.
Noted. Which is really not that, which is not that much per individual investor, I feel like, either.
No.
Really not that good.
No. About $50K per person, which a lot of people have this, right now, and I say sitting around, but a lot of, if it is sitting around in a HELOC someplace or investment account someplace doing not much. Because they don't know you and how to make money of your programs, but it's just sitting there being lazy.
Right. Well, exactly. But that's the thing is that I was wondering about, and I'd like to dive more into, like the self-directed IRA thing. Just, I guess one last question on that.
Yeah.
Does it have to be fully in cash, or could it be in all invested stock? So let's say someone has $600,000 in Apple stock.
Yeah.
Do they have to sell it to then use that, or do you know the answer to
that? Where are you asking? Can you do like a margin account to go borrow against the value of that stock to go invest?
Well, you wouldn't be a margin account. Let's say it'd be an IRA. So just you have an IRA. You just don't. It's just
so the IRA has the Apple stock.
Correct.
Okay. Well, you have to have liquidity. So it's got to be liquid somehow to go invest in these things. So they don't take, I call it like kind, but they're not going to take you're not going to go pledge that.
Okay.
Through a self-directed IRA. There are some programs out there, if it's not inside of an IRA, it's just an individual like, hey, I own $600,000 in Apple stock. I'm not that liquid because I'm not that stupid. Like, I don't want to have like all my money sitting around doing nothing in a bank. Yeah, I want making money. How do we go buy something using that? And there's lots of ways to go use that without selling the stock. So you can do pledges, you can do margin accounts, borrow against it, and then get released after a couple of years. There's several other ways to go do that.
Interesting. Okay.
So, yep.
Gotcha. So I'm also here on your website. What would you recommend for people to get some information on just your lending? Would they just put in their email address and get the ebook, getting equity, or what would you prefer them to do?
Well, if they've got, if they already have rentals, that's a great ebook to kind of show them how to reposition equity in those rental properties using non-recourse lending. If they don't, what I just say is just go jump on my calendar, a link there, and just create a calendar. I'd love to talk to them and just see how we can help out and point in the right direction. Or just send me an email, billy@billybrown.me. If they just want to go, hey, I don't want to talk to you, dude. You're boring, and you got a weird accent, and I just want the info. They just send me an email to billy@billybrown.me, and you have that. What I'll do is I'll add in my newsletter. I have a weekly newsletter that kind of goes over like how investors can use lending to maximize their profits. And I go over, because things change all the time, like updates on lending programs, ideas, concepts, assets. Like, well, how do you buy a mobile home park? You know, we learned about that last week at Music and Money. How do you buy a mobile home park? There's, you know, several different ways to run it. How do you go do it? How do you buy an apartment complex? How do you buy an office? You know, how do you do bridge lending? You know, like,
sure.
What's bridge lending look like?
Sure.
So that's out there. And then, you know, if they have specific needs, then obviously they can, you know, reach out to me and I can answer, you know, and answer their questions for them.
Okay, beautiful. And like I said, if you guys want to reach out, like Billy is, he is here in Nashville, and him and I plan on doing a few deals in the future. One coming up relatively soon, but much more, hopefully, with real estate, man. You know, getting some syndications together, finding some properties, getting some cash in play, and you know, is that where you specialize in? Is it just Tennessee, or are you able to specialize in other parts of the country?
That's a great question. We can lend in the continental U.S. There are a few states, depending on the request and the size and all that, is very difficult to go do. You know, obviously, you're some lower population states like Montana and Wyoming and, you know, Nevada or something like that. You're like, yeah, we're not that strong out there. But if you got, you know, rentals in very good size metropolitan areas, you know, got to reposition that or buy a rental property or refinance or whatever. We can lend all across the United States. Yep. But on the other side, as far as learning, I don't know how many of you guys are in Nashville, but you know, see Music and Money is a great group. If they're not, they can go live stream that and watch the past videos. This Tuesday coming up, I'm doing a presentation with in Nashville with called Real Estate Investors Network, and the breakout session is called Deals.
Yeah,
it's changed a little bit. The original version of it was like it was like a game show, and it was kind of cool, but it just got too crazy. So they changed it over. Now it's more commercial type stuff. So I'm going to talk about that and go actually into more detail on the 10 ways to be a passive real estate investor. And kind of show those nuances when it comes to like, hey, did you know, there's ways to go do that and just have your money sitting in a chicken account and make 1% per month.
Yeah. How quick can you?
And people will go pay you. Yeah. Well, here's a great one. Great example. We actually got this lined up, but we're looking at buying an apartment complex up in Lexington where we bought our other one. And it's an auction, and they have some stupid requirements as far as being, you have to put like a 10% deposit down in 24 hours. Like, holy moly, it's this $7 million project, and you got to come with $700,000. Most investors aren't liquid, or they're going through things that can't be liquid, so you got to bring on a liquidity partner. So in essence, you know, we would bring on somebody with that much liquidity or persons and get them part of the deal. Part of the ownership, and it pays really good returns plus the ownership if they want it. So anyway, this is a great example. I don't think we're going to get that project because they're stupid on their price, but that's one of them. And you got like balance sheet guarantors. You got somebody like, hey, I'm a gajillions of dollars because I follow Jeremy. They got lots of money and lots of assets and all that. My balance sheet looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And I've got real estate. I got stocks. I got stuff. I'm sitting back like, I don't want to be active. I just want mailbox money, and I'm okay with guaranteeing some loans in exchange for some ownership and my expertise as being somebody kind of like phone a friend if something happens. Those guys, once you get a certain point, that's all these guys do is just sign on loans to help bolster the balance sheet of the deal. And they just sit back and just sign papers and make money.
Okay.
It's kind of like it goes back to your book there. I mean, you can print money in your head. It's crazy nowadays. It's crazy.
I love it.
It's safe and secure. So yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And if anyone else has any questions for Billy while he's on the phone, feel free to jump in and throw in. But yeah, man, I think that there's a lot of things that I would love to do in the real estate world at some point with, again, with syndications and just getting people together and finding really great projects and deals to put some cash towards, some money towards. All about building and growth and helping, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you this, and I actually did a breakout session down in Murfreesboro, which is a little sub-market in Nashville a while back. I need to do it again because I think people get a little overwhelmed when it comes to real estate investing, where if they listen to gurus, you have to be the one that knows everything about everything and do it all, lead charge and all that. Dude, I try to follow that mentality, and it sucked me down a black hole of like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. It was only when I realized like the only way to win is to partner, and that my skill sets are someone else's missing link and missing piece of the pie. And you got to really do a self-evaluation of, hey, I've got these, and there's basically 6 things, and if we got time, I'll tell you about it. Sure. 6 things that you need for a great deal. Obviously, you got to have, the deal, but somebody's got to go out and find it.
Okay.
You got to know how to evaluate the deal.
Yep.
You have the team in place to go put the deal, like, and execute the strategy. You got to be bankable. You got to have liquidity, and then you got to have time to go put it all together. No one has all 6. Nobody. So if you go make a little box, with those things and go, okay, which ones do I have and which ones do I need? If you have none, then you basically need to go, skill up, go learn, read some books. But most of your guys are going to have 1, 2, or 3 of those things.
Yeah. They
may not have time, they may not have expertise, they may not have a deal, but they may have bankability, may have some money. And those can be put into play and partner with people that have the other 4. And now you got a deal. Now you can go forward with a deal. And everyone wins. It's beautiful. So it's collaboration. It's collaboration at the best. And the winners win because a lot of times we're waiting on 1 or 2 of those pieces to come in to be able to feel comfortable winning on the project. And if it's already there in place and there's then it makes our world a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah. So don't be scared, man. Don't be scared about, try to do it on your own. First of all, don't do it on your own.
Sure.
Go do a self-analysis and see which pieces you have, and then go take a lot of people to lunch. Spend some money investing in people in those relationships.
Ooh, that's a good one, man. Investing in people. You got to do it. Got to do it, right?
You got to
get some knowledge and get some wisdom from them, and absolutely, without question.
Well, your two biggest investments that you can make to create infinite, crazy returns. You invest in people and relationships, and you invest in books.
Ooh.
You do that.
Yeah.
You do that. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts what's going to happen because those type of people, especially like-minded, like you're bringing folks in, that knowledge, expertise, and execution to go create money out of nothing. The same thing, once we got around that crowd, like, oh my gosh, now you know how to go create money out of thin air. It's beautiful. Now you go pay to be around those folks because it's a different class of, not say class, it's a different, I don't know, they're just different. Everyone's kind of different. So you got to go kind of, you pay your dues at the end, go beat and haggle and be around those folks. But once you are, you get to know them, man, it's limitless. I can't tell you how many people help me out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, a question. Thomas mentioned in the chat pane, he says, where can we get access to that upcoming presentation, or is that accessible, the one that you're talking about?
On the 17th, they do not live stream that. That will be a in-class event only if they're in Nashville. The website to go register is reintn.org. reintn.org.
Right.
And I don't think they'll do it. I may do another one and record it, but it's if you, I might write an ebook on it. I don't know, but it's blog post. I'm not sure. I think Tyler wanted to do a blog post on it. So if I do, I'll let you guys know, and it will be. I'll probably put on my newsletter.
Website. Yeah, tell your newsletter exactly. And like I said, this is the ran for Tennessee. Real estate investors in Tennessee, and we have the president. Yeah. The president, Beverly Kruger, she'll be coming on the Real Life Trading podcast not too long from now. But again, if you guys want to get on this, I am on Billy's email list. Throw your email address, get his ebook, read some stuff. His emails are usually quite informative. Honestly, they're not salesy at all.
Usually.
Usually they're very informative, man. I mean,
appreciate that.
Yeah, sometimes it's just him being a male model. All right, he gets paid a lot of money to look as good.
I don't think so.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Well, dude, I appreciate everything. Thanks for jumping on and letting me talk to your folks. I mean, I'm here to help you out, help them out. Any questions they have. It can be scary when you learn something new, but once you get the vibe of it, it's just another way. It's just another way to help. And by investing and by doing this, you actually know you're blessing others.
Yes, exactly.
You're blessing others by doing that. So it's not greed. It's actually you're blessing others.
I love it.
So
I love it so much. Well, thank you, man. I truly appreciate it. And you and I will be chatting again soon. Like I said, we have Billy and I have some stuff that we're working on right now as far as lending goes. So me and you will get on the phone either today or tomorrow, but soon.
Okay.
We'll be chatting again soon. Okay.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for everyone, and look forward to connecting in the future.
Yep. Take care, brother.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, traders, friends, and family. There it is. Billy Brown here in Nashville. Some good information about real estate lending and syndication and rentals. Money is there, ladies and gentlemen. Money grows on trees. Whatever your excuse is that you can't invest, it's probably an ill-fated one. There is a solution to whatever challenge it is. We just have to find it. And through finding that solution, it might make us uncomfortable. We might have to ask questions we haven't asked before, but we will definitely do things we have not done before. And that's the only way to become wealthy. You have to do those things that you haven't done. Anyway, hope this was helpful. Hope this was beneficial. Click that subscribe button. Thank you for being a part of Real Life Trading. If you want more information about the stock market and how you can use and guide and maneuver the markets quickly, adequately, and profitably, hop over to reallifetrading.com. Click on that free tab. Click any of these guys, watch it, crush it, enjoy it. Thanks for being here, folks. You are amazing. What an incredible, massively profitable Wednesday, spelled with an I. I will see you all tomorrow. And until then, love life, and trade it. Bye.